Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff Show. Today, we're going to be talking about comics that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, June 22nd. But we're not just talking about comics. We're going to be talking about manga. We're going to be talking about prose novels. We're going to be talking about big art books because there's a lot of great things on Final Order Cutoff this Monday. And to add to it all, we're going to have an incredible guest who's got work from Image Comics to SourcePoint Press to IDW, and his next project is something that has been long demanded for 35 plus years. So stay tuned because you're not going to want to miss today's episode of Order Up. Hi everyone, I'm Matthias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you. All right, and this week we're talking about books that are on FOC on Monday, June 22nd. Some really fun things we get to talk about today, Kyle. I know one that you are dying to talk to our guest about.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there are comics every week that I'm big excited for. But there are seldom weeks where I go into my local comic shop and say, "Hey, just for my own purposes, I need to order this many copies," and you quadruple or quintuple their order. So, like maybe I'm a little excited.
No, I mean, I know for a fact you are because I'm excited to have this guest on, and I don't want to reveal anything earlier than when we'll be dragging him on. But you first told me about this artist years ago when I was working with Dogu and Dark Horse about a potential cover artist, and I fell in love with his work then. So I'm looking forward to this interview. But with that, go ahead.
No, I mean this guest is someone that I've been a friend of, worked with, been a fan of for a lot of years now. And so to have them, have the opportunity to be on our show because they have a book that is going to, have some relevancy, that's, the best case scenario.
Definitely. All right. So to remind everyone where they can find all the books on FOC, not just the ones we talk about, as well as the books we were talking about, we have to show off 2 key websites as we normally do, Kyle. So if we can load up, if you are a fan of Marvel, IDW, Dark Horse, Distillery, Boom Studios, so many major publishers, well, this distributor is one of the biggest book distributors in the world. So of course they're going to have them all. PRH Comics is the home of Penguin Random House distribution. And at prhcomics.com, you see a wonderful website like this. And of course, they know what's up. the first thing on their website is FOC, Final Order Cutoff, for the books on June 22nd. Clicking this will get you to this wonderful version of the website right over here that will have all of your books. We recommend sorting it title A to Z, just so that way it's a little bit easier organized, and that way you can see all the books that are on FOC this Monday. But you might have noticed I did not say DC, Dynamite, Image Comics, Oni Press, or many of those other wonderful publishers we all love, because Penguin Random House doesn't handle their floppy comics. To find that, the website we trust the most is one of the main US distributors for those publishers, lunardistribution.com. Going to lunardistribution.com, you'll find this simple website, and scrolling down a little bit, you can see upcoming FOC. Make sure you're clicked on the right date, June 22nd, 2026. And you can see all of the offerings from DC, Dynamite, Image Comics, Oni Press, and a number of other great publishers. So I think what we want to do, though, is focus on the big new number ones, the hot variants, the amazing things that might otherwise not have caught your attention but deserve it when you're reaching out to your local comic shop to let them know what it is you want. So let's start it off with Penguin Random House. And I think we have some amazing ways to go. You ready for this, Kyle?
Let's do it.
All right. So first off, Amazing Spider-Man 33. In issue 32 or issue 31 that came out this past Wednesday, we had the talk. A big moment where Aunt May revealed a huge game changer for not only Peter's life, but her family as a whole. We're going to start seeing the fallout of that conversation in Amazing Spider-Man 33. And of course, I had to show off that beautiful David Nakayama blue on blue cover with the Bagman because, look, it's just an image that makes Kyle smile.
Yeah. I mean, the bombastic Bagman is one of my favorite characters. So the fact that like they're making a cover with them, and it's not somebody you see every day, is, you know, this is the one I bought. Okay, don't make me say it that many times.
Yeah. But no, I am very excited. I will say, if for any reason you are not reading Amazing Spider-Man, I had drifted from it. Issue 31, it hit me like an emotional wrecking ball. It was so brilliantly done in dialogue. And while I don't think it changes the entire world in the traditional way that Marvel has always pushed, I will say, going back to the interview we did talking about ASM 31 on FOC, the book was far better than I would have ever thought in completely different ways. It is an emotional powerhouse and well worth the read. So go to your local comic shop, grab ASM 31. Probably should get 32 on your pull as well, and make sure you have number 33 on FOC this week. Then World Cup is happening. Even Kyle and I, two comic geeks, were talking about the World Cup before this stream. So we have to talk about Blue Lock, one of the greatest football manga ever. Blue Lock Omnibus 4 is on FOC. This is a big game changer. This is, I think, the end of the season 1 anime, but this is going to be our moment where our young protagonists get their first taste of real world celebrity soccer, and it is intense. You can get all of the Omnibuy or normal volumes of Blue Lock from your comic shop. And if you're not reading it, even if you've never been a fan of soccer in your life, this will change that.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Kyle.
No, it's like I said, it's this Blue Lock is a way that a lot of folks have gotten into soccer and gotten into manga because of the relationship they have. So this having these being re-released now at a time when soccer is at the forefront of everybody's thoughts is a super smart thing on behalf of this publisher, the publisher.
Absolutely. Now for a very odd one, the death-defying princess creates a Yuri harem to survive, Volume 1. Love long manga titles. Now, this is a very unique one, but I love bringing it up for Pride Month. This is going to be a Yuri, so a girl, sexy romance manga. But it's got an interesting twist because it plays a Groundhog's Day effect. No, it's not an isekai. A evil young female heroine, if we can call her a heroine, she seems pretty evil, is sent to death. She is placed in the guillotine. However, at the moment of her death, she actually goes back in time a year and has to keep repeating that year over and over and over again, trying to change her life so she doesn't end up murdered again and again. However, she finally determines the way she's going to do this is she has to romance the women that she had been very catty to in the past so they don't lead to the situation where she will be murdered amongst her people. It's an interesting concept to do a kind of sexy LGBTQ twist on a Groundhog's Day tale. And then you throw in that very French-esque, guillotine twist. It's got my attention. I am actually really curious. The mangaka behind it is the same creator as Lord Marksman and the Venatus. So new Seven Seas, mature Yuri manga, but fun twist. I'm curious. Groundhog's Day. I'm always told whenever there's a Groundhog's Day effect. Now for the big Marvel book, the big X book of the year, DNX. It's X-Men, it's Fantastic Four, it's a virus that risks turning every human on Earth into a mutant in the most painful way. And this is not something that looks good on the mutant agenda. So, how will our X heroes deal with it, and how will the Fantastic Four ally? Jed MacKay is going to bring us this new miniseries that Marvel is going full hammer with our hidden double covers. Carrie Andrews is doing double covers that aren't accidental. Each one of these books is going to have two covers. So you're going to have the cover you see there, and then you open it up, and there's an alternate cover that ties to it, a before and after kind of image. I think in concept, this sounds far greater than it does. And if you go to marvelcomics.com, they show off a really cool slider effect. And on the slider effect, I love it. I don't know that just having two covers is going to be as exciting on the physical form, but the creative team is solid, and I do want to take a look. That said, there's a million covers you can order from, including blind bags that we'll be talking about when we get to our top 10. A lot of beautiful covers for an interesting sounding book, and I'm never going to say no to a new X title. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Kyle?
Do you guys remember when Marvel had too many cover gimmicks for their own good, and then they had to sell Spider-Man to Sony? This is that.
So you're saying it's
too many. Yes, there's too many. The double covers. Why not just, again, have different cover art? Like, why do you got to have a blind bag? Why do you have to have a display box for stores? Why do you have to have, like, 7 versions of the same cover, one virgin, one not? This feels like, I'm going to say it, this feels dynamite-y. Okay? Pick 5 and then do a couple of incentives and call it a day. But if you're going to do an event, you're already going to get our money. Why play this game? Why risk that much more? If retailers buy in and then can't sell them, you're just screwing yourself long term. This is a bad idea.
14 cover options on one book, and that's before you get to the blind bags, which introduce, I believe, another, let's see, around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, around another 12 to 13 options in the blind bag.
So 14, but some of those are double covers, so that's actually higher than 14. And then you've got another 12 from the blind bag. I'm just saying, hey, Marvel, take some time away from doing a million covers and make sure the story's good.
Yeah. Well, it's Jed MacKay. I have faith in Jed. He's always been
yeah, absolutely. There are 2 writers that I would trust with this right now at Marvel. Jed MacKay is one of them, and the other one is writing Spider-Man, so he's a little busy.
Yeah.
But it's this to me just, I would too, but this to me just screams bad idea.
Well, that's another publisher, and we'll talk about them later. All right. Odd one I wanted to bring onto the radar, but Down the Rabbit Hole, tying into the new Disney Descendants movie that'll be coming out this summer, Wicked Wonderland. Now, Descendants has a couple things on FOC this week, as they also have some Spanish language editions of the various Descendants graphic novels. But this is definitely one that if you have a young kid, or, let's face it, even an adult who loves the Disney Descendant movies, they have been long awaiting this new fifth movie. I believe this is the fifth Descendants film, live action. So, a great way to get those younger readers into reading. These step into reading books are wonderful for teaching kids how to read on their own, how to step into bigger words. I have found as a parent, these things are amazing. And if you also have a fan of Descendants in your life, there are some great graphic novels that can be ordered from your local comic shop, as well as now we have Spanish language graphic novels. I want to really quickly show that off because I think these things are amazing. So there are the Tokyo Pop Spanish language Descendant mangas featuring our original Descendants cast from the first three movies.
And with the step into reading things too, a lot of times you'll see them, especially what we can show you on the show, and they're geared very towards already comic readers, already comic fans, people who grew up watching Spidey and His Amazing Friends kind of things, right? People already know these characters. These books, like especially with Descendants, are targeted at a whole different demographic, right? These are the people who grew up on the movies, who grew up on the TV shows, who grew up on the other things that aren't so superhero related. More Disney than superhero than Marvel stuff. So I think this is a great opportunity to expand. If you're a shop, expand your offerings.
Indeed. All right. Now, for those who are long-term fans, the Fantastic Four is nothing new to your average Marvel fan as we prepare to celebrate the 65th anniversary of Fantastic Four. Crazy thought. Issue 15 is going to be the 65th anniversary of Marvel's first family as Ryan North and Humberto Ramos return the Fantastic Four back in time. Yes, they are slipping backwards in time and looking for a hero to save them. There are some great homage covers that you see with Humberto Ramos doing a classic Fantastic Four #1 callback right there, as well as a number of other great covers available, giving you a taste of the history of Fantastic Four. One cover, though, that I am shocked on, as we are doing the 40th anniversary of Pixar's. Yes, 65th anniversary of Fantastic Four has a 40th anniversary of Pixar. Of all the movies, Bug's Life. I'd forgotten about it. That's the cover no one demanded. I am certain someone is going to come into someone's store wanting this book, but I don't know who it is. Nevertheless, Nicoletta Baldari, brilliant cover artist, doing an amazing piece there. And again, big book, literally a big book for that 65th anniversary of the Fantastic Four with some amazing covers available.
1998, A Bug's Life come out as I slowly feel like I'm turning into dust.
Yeah.
40 years of Pixar. Oy. Yeah, I feel ancient.
All right. One I have to bring up because Marvel is breaking into the world of Magic the Gathering once again this weekend. Right now, you can go to pre-releases at your local game store for Magic the Gathering Marvel Superheroes with its official release next Friday. So as such, I got to go back the other way and introduce Magic into comics. The Elspeth trade paperback by Dan Waters. Yes, that Dan Waters is on FOC alongside the third issue of Jace, another key planeswalker and piece of the Magic the Gathering mythos, being written by Michael Conrad. And we are coming up soon on the new Liliana Vess Magic the Gathering miniseries by Torn Groenbeck. Right now, Dark Horse is bringing us some of the best Magic the Gathering comics we have ever had with top tier creators. So if you have ever been a fan of Magic the Gathering, perhaps you're loving the universes beyond entering your card game, or you're sick of it and you just want to venture back to the traditional characters of Magic the Gathering. The Planeswalkers are all getting great stories at Dark Horse. Started off with this awesome trade paperback by Dan Waters. Pick up Michael Conrad's amazing J series and get pre-orders in on Groenbeck's awesome Liliana Vestale.
Almost makes me want to get re-addicted to Magic the Gathering.
I mean, I have a box sitting on the other side of this setup waiting for me to open it. So, Power Ranger fans, there are a ton of new Power Ranger books from Boom Studios. One of them we'll be talking about shortly. But if for any reason you didn't get in when Power Rangers first relaunched over at Boom roughly a decade ago, this is going to be your affordable entry point. Kyle Higgins did a phenomenal job reviving Power Rangers for comic fans in the 2010s. And part of it is going to be collected in this new compact edition for $15. You're going to get the first, I want to say, is it 12 issues? The first 13 issues, actually, 0 through 12, that take our classic Power Rangers of the 90s and give us a relaunch of them. And this is going to also include the first appearance of Lord Dakin. Draken, something D and some K's and an N. Yes, but Lord Dakin, which is the evil version of Tommy Oliver from an alternate universe that has made some of the coolest Power Ranger stories ever. This is, I think, what really put the spotlight on Kyle Higgins. Look, his Supermassive verse of Radiant Black and others were brilliant. He's done some phenomenal stories from Batman to Nightwing over there. Thank you, Greg Draken. But this is going to be an awesome way, if you, for any reason you missed out on it, to dive into Power Rangers. I have some excitement. Obviously, last week we had some guests talking about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and their new relaunch. But this is the thing that I will always want to put into every Power Ranger fan's hands. If you haven't read this, a great way, an affordable way, and it's that awesome way you can drag with you everywhere. Because I love the size of these compact editions. Having literally just hopped on an international flight up to Canada yesterday, compact editions are the easy thing to throw in your bag and flip through on the plane.
All right, so because Greg is in the comments and he put this in there, he's seen the first 3 compact editions of these. Get ready. So volume 1 is your first 12. That means volume 2 is going to end just before Shattered Grid, which is one of the biggest Power Rangers events ever in comics. Greg, can you tell me, is volume 3 going to be just all of Shattered Grid? If so, I'm calling my shop right now and being like, look, I don't really care how long you have to wait. I want them all. Just give them to me. Because I think that is the perfect way to break down the Boom Studios Kyle Higgins Power Rangers, right? Like, yeah,
you know
okay,
what
fair.
we're doing? We do this amazing thing with Boom Studios. 3 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row, we have made them say things they're not supposed to say, and I feel so horrible about that.
Listen, but here's what I'm getting at. This is the perfect way to break these series down. Getting some of these issues is ridiculously hard. I needed to go find 25 for a customer of mine, and it took me 3 months to find a raw number 25. Like, you get into those single issues that are in this book, 1, 2, 3, 4, some of those single digit issues, and it's impossible. So this is a great way to get it and read it. And again, do you have a young person who's like into manga but like kind of is aware of Power Rangers because they saw it on TV? Here you go. This is the thing. This is the next, how you get that generation into comics. I'm so excited for this book.
Yeah. And to not bluntly say Compact Edition Volume 3 has a very high likelihood of being Shattered Grid, because Kyle is smart in his predictions of, mathematics of, comics.
Well, and Kyle Higgins is smart.
Yeah. I will say this. Shattered Grid, I think, brought a vast majority of the Power Ranger fans into the comics with issue number 25. It was a huge issue. But then people wanted to know more about Lord Draken. I mean, we got action figures of this character that first appeared in comics. And the hard thing was really finding that issue 9, I want to say it was. I want to say issue 9 was his first appearance. But this is in here. you can see the intro to this character that sets up so much, including one of my favorite live action moments with Jason David Frank, which was done in a garage with Kyle Higgins as they filmed a promo for Shattered Grid. Um, I don't think it gets better. You definitely need to order this. $15. There's no way to lose. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Compact Edition. And that will lead into something we'll be talking about in a few short moments.
Listen, if you're looking for a number 9, there's one raw copy on the Bay, and it's in the $60 range. So, like, just know that you're saving big money by picking this up, and you're getting just. I fell back in love with Power Rangers because of these issues. So, I can't tell you how excited I am for this book.
Yeah, this is I gotta say, like, Kyle is a great dude, and I love so much of his comics, but this is, like, I think my favorite he's done. And I don't know if he would appreciate like, I hope he'd appreciate that opinion. But, like, man, his Power Rangers was amazing. All right. Classic horror in a non-traditional piece of item we get to talk about on the FOC show, but something you can get at your local comic shop because of Penguin Random House. The Night of the Living Dead official story of the film. This isn't an adaptation of the film. This is how the film was made. This is literally the tale of how Night of the Living Dead came together. One of the most classic zombie horror films ever made. It's going to be a pricey $50 hardcover, but if you are a big zombie fan, and likely if you are not, a big zombie fan, this is going to be a must-own hardcover.
So, funny story about Night of the Living Dead. When Comics Pro was in Pittsburgh, for the couple years it was in Pittsburgh, Evans City Cemetery is where they shot the opening scene. It's like a half hour north of Pittsburgh. We went both years to the cemetery on our way into Comics Pro, just because that's how much I love this movie. And I've got pictures of me with a, huh?
I wish you would have told me. I would have totally went with you.
Yeah, I've got pictures of me with some of the different headstones that are iconic from the movie. This is a great behind the scenes look at the reality that was making this movie in a time when you didn't have CGI, when you didn't have computers, when you didn't have all of this stuff, and you had to actually do stuff. And so, again, this is another one that I'm hyped for. But yeah, I mean, I've been to the cemetery. I was going to be hyped for this regardless.
Yeah. Oh man, awesome stuff. Order it now or they're coming to get you, Kyle. All right. One I'm really excited to talk about. This is one that just caught me off guard because I had to instantly think, there's no way they got this right. This is reverse. Christian Ward has to be the artist and John Pearson's the writer, right? Like, no, it's Christian Ward, famed artist Christian Ward, who did this amazing cover, is writing. And John Pearson, another talented writer and artist, is doing the art on this. The Patron tells the tale of a man who goes and finds up-and-coming artists, makes them big, and then makes sure they're deceased to guarantee their artwork has a higher value in the aftermarket. Because think about it. All of the most expensive paintings and pieces of artwork tend to have one thing in common. The artist that crafted them is no longer with us.
Have you priced a Basquiat lately?
What was that?
Have you priced a Basquiat lately?
Oh, there you go. But here's the twist. For this wonderful patron, and by wonderful, I mean highly evil, what happens when the latest artist posthumously makes his life a living hell? This is a very interesting and creepy looking horror book. I am super excited to give this a read. Has all of the key concepts of suspense, thriller, And oddly enough, far too familiarity in the industry that we're currently in, as Kyle and I were making comments on earlier. So, brand new series from Ignition Press, the incredible John Pearson, Christian Ward. This is going to be exciting.
I low key want to know if Christian Ward is drawing on maybe some real life experiences and turning them up to 11
Hmm.
or 30 because of what this book actually is.
Well, keeping the themes in dark horror, there is nothing darker than Hellraiser. And Clive Barker's Pinhead is getting a facsimile edition from Boom Studios. And since Greg is in the comments, I'm going to call him out again because I was actually going to call him before we went live on this. I'm curious, is that going to be a white background? Because the classic Marvel version of this had that red foil, but there is the highly demanded error editions that don't have the red foil. And I've actually always wanted one of those error editions. So, is this facsimile going to be red foil or a white copy? One way or another, it's a beautiful book. This is a classic horror masterpiece. It's white. Oh, I'm so excited about this. That's awesome. So it's going to be like I can finally, act like I have one of those error editions of Pinhead #1. But yes, this is just frightening. That Kelly Jones cover has been iconically stuck in my head for decades. And even though I own the red foil Marvel edition, I'm 100% now getting the white cover. I'm so excited on this. This is going to be great. And this is just the start of more Hellraiser comics from Boom Studios. We had the incredible Teenie Howard on a few weeks ago talking about one of her upcoming Hellraiser one-shots. And there are some top-tier talents doing Hellraiser one-shots with more Hellraiser news and Pinhead news on the way from Boom Studios. Unless, Greg wants to really hurt his job by accidentally revealing something on this.
Well, listen, he's not going to get in trouble if we keep guessing. But here's what I will say, and I'll make sure he doesn't get in trouble. I'll make a phone call. Anyway, the thing about about Pinhead, right, especially this first issue, is this is another one of those that I'm generally not a giant fan of the facsimiles. But try finding the red foil edition, like just in the wild. It's not a thing. Pinhead fans don't let their stuff go. So you're not going to find them. And finding the error edition, which this is the actual homage to, right? That this is the actual facsimile of, is even more impossible.
Yeah.
So again, this is what a facsimile should be. Shout out to Boom Studios for actually doing it correctly.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
I'm really excited for this one too. Again, this is something I can put in boxes and take to shows. And oh yeah, you can't find this elsewhere. This is your only option here. Try, take it. And it's by the way, it's $5.
Yeah, I can't even find a copy of the Pinhead error edition right now on the
I know where there's one, and I know what the guy wants, and no, you buy a house.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh man, awesome stuff. All right. And as Greg pointed out, there's a video game too.
Bum bum bum. If there's a new movie and Greg's holding out on me, if he knows there's gonna be a movie and Greg's holding out on me, I'm gonna make sure he doesn't get chicken on a stick next year at Comics Pro if he's holding out on me.
This feels like the Boom week over on FOC. There's more big Boom titles than Marvel titles on PRH's FOC. But I'm going to reference a Marvel title with this. Power Rangers Green. This feels like the old man Logan of the Green Power Ranger. Set years in the future, the Green Ranger is the last Ranger. He's the last Power Ranger on Earth. But that doesn't mean he's alone. What is going to pull Tommy Oliver back into his Sentai suit? What is this dark future for, let's be honest, everyone's favorite Power Ranger? You can lie to me all you want, and I get it. Everyone can have favorite Power Rangers, but secretly your favorite Ranger is always the Green Ranger, or at least Tommy in the White Ranger outfit. So, Power Rangers Green, we get a solo story
focused on this. I like that. Oh man, Greg is the king of comments on this today.
Why is
It's
Greg
like
just not on the
Obi-Wan
show
Logan
today?
is Last Ronin with a twist of Mandalorian. Everything I want to hear there. I love every single part of that.
Yeah. Just in case.
So,
by the way, we should have just had Greg on the show today. Like it just would have been easier.
Yeah, one of these days we'll get him on here. But yeah, Paul Lore, Gustavo Vargas. Look at that beautiful cover by Tony Harris. That just screams like, it makes me think of Shade, the old DC title. But like, oh, such a beautiful, beautiful piece. And that's not the only cover. A lot of great covers available on that. Just all this amazing, amazing stuff here. I am hyped on this. And I mean,
yeah,
again,
there are a lot of those. There are a lot of those that make me sad. I'm not going to be able to take them up to Jason David Frank at a convention and be like, write your name on these, please.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it makes me sad that he's not here to see this book, just because some of these covers are just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I would order 100 copies myself just to get that Olivetti cover signed by Jason David Frank if he was still alive. Awesome piece, just beautiful. So, all right, I think it's time for another P word, and it's going to be prose. Kyle, you ready for your prose pick of the week?
Well, like I'm having trouble. Last 2 weeks, I've had trouble picking my prose pick of the week because we've had multiple good options. But this week, I want to celebrate two options that are out there that are on FOC this week that are anniversaries, kind of. So 1995, this book Practical Magic comes out that gets turned into a movie that's like a big hit movie. And Practical Magic has had this effect on generations of readers, where it's this idea of like this female empowerment, this witches story that really has played well to a lot of young girls who have looked for magic that looks like them. So you have that this week. This last year was the 30th anniversary of Practical Magic, and then this year is the 25th anniversary of another big story that was made into movies and TV shows that have inspired generations, which is Owen Kofer's Artemis Fowl books. And we actually have two of those on FOC this week. Artemis Fowl is the detective, but it's a criminal mastermind and tech savvy fairies. So it's got all of the fantasy elements that you really like with a good detective story. And again, it's been made into movies and TV shows, and it's a Disney property. So you could do a lot with it. So you've got the 25th anniversary edition paperback of the story, and then you've got the deluxe collector's edition with the slipcase and all of that. Again, we have these two books that have inspired generations of young people in their reading. And now you have these anniversary editions coming out to celebrate 25 and 30 years. Just as, those kids are old enough to have like adult spending money to spend on $35 hard copies of a book that they loved when they were kids. So again, if you're a shop, this is maybe a good, get a couple and put them on a shelf because you never know. But again, if you're looking for something, a really cool something to hand to a young reader in your life to try to get them into the fantasy, to get them into the magic and the sword and sorcery and all of the things that we love in fantasy and sci-fi comics, these are great options for you.
Yeah. And keep in mind, if they do fall in love with or are looking for more, all of the various Artemis Fowl related books are available through Penguin Random House, thanks to Disney Hyperion.
That's the other thing that both of these books have in common, Practical Magic and Artemis Fowl. They're both parts of big, long series. So again, if you get them hooked on these first two books, right, Artemis Fowl and then Practical Magic, you're basically giving them an addiction. But it's like a good one because it's reading.
I love it. Yeah. Hey, man, reading keeps kids off drugs. I hope that's
okay.
How that works. I don't know that it always is. Yeah. All right, guys. Queen in Black. It's the big Marvel event. It's all the big Marvel events. So many big Marvel events right now. Avengers Armageddon, Queen in Black, DNX. It feels like Marvel exists on the big Marvel event is the statement for 2026. Nevertheless, the Queen in Black does have me quite excited because Al Ewing is doing his big sequel to Donny Cates' King in Black, and I am very hyped on this. Hela becoming the goddess of symbiotes and darkness. This fun one shot will tie into the Queen in Black. It's Queen in Black Hela, written by Al Ewing, giving us all those little answers to our dying questions we've had that will lead into the big event. Artwork by Carlos Magno, a ton of beautiful covers, nowhere near as many as the Queen in Black #1, but still, you can't say no to that amazing Magno variant or that stunning Peach Momoko. I love that. So
And
I'm excited.
that's just, I was kind of over the Queen in Black event, but then I read that first one. It was really good. And now I'm very excited for this one because I love the character Hela. And Carlos Magno's art is just perfect for this. It's just, I don't know that you could pick somebody better at drawing a lightning bolt. And he gets to do a bunch of that.
Yeah.
So shout out. I'm excited for this book, even though I didn't think I was going to be excited for the series. It's proving me wrong, and I should have known to trust Al Ewing. That's my bad.
He's always solid. All right.
Mhm.
Let's do something really different. A graphic novel. You can instantly get it through hardcover or softcover by FOCing this Monday. But Renee Nault's Salvage. Salvage tells a tale in our future where water has pushed heavily upwards and inwards, and the people of Earth are incredibly divisive. So a young man and his family make a living sinking into the ocean and pulling or salvaging items from skyscrapers. And as our protagonist discovers a chest with high-end fancy clothing, he decides he's going to use this to go mingle with the upper echelon that normally look down upon him. And when he does so and meets a beautiful young girl, he decides he's going to try and hold on to this false image. And we get to discover a world of two very different styles. An interesting graphic novel that talks about a dark potential of our future here on Earth that I fear is coming far sooner than we might want. But at least it doesn't tell of an AI world takeover. 10 Speed Graphics is bringing us Renee Nault's awesome graphic novel. Order it all, one and done. $26 hardcover. It's a $20 soft cover. This looks and sounds amazing.
Well, and if you read Renee Nault's adaptation of Handmaid's Tale, the art is very similar from what I can find on the internet. Like, this is something that there are a few images out there, but it's been very tight-lipped in terms of what you can see of it. But the art that I've seen is very similar to that Handmaid's Tale that Renee did. And so if you found that interesting, you found that art to be compelling, which I think it was, again, you have another dystopian romance story. Probably, it's probably something you're going to dig if you dug their Handmaid's Tale.
Indeed. Now, I would always love to argue Star Wars being pseudo-utopian, but, that would be a complete ignorance of the fact of the Empire and all of the rebellion and stuff like that. So, while it's not my way of defining things as dystopian, let's go for another dystopian romance in Star Wars. We are getting one of our first romance novels, outright romance novels in the Star Wars universe. Star Wars Eyes Like Stars is a new YA romance novel from Ashley Poston, who is known for doing some very phenomenal romance novels. And it is set during the sequel era of the First Order. No Jedi, Star Wars romance during the First Order. I'm fully in. I was not expecting it. The only part that disappoints me is that, while this is a YA, it is not getting a hardcover edition. It is going straight to softcover and audiobook. But you can order a softcover from your local comic shop. I mean, as a huge Star Wars fan, like even as an adult male, I am looking so forward to this YA romance. This just sounds awesome. So I'm curious if this is successful, how Star Wars and Disney will continue on. Are we going to start getting non-Jedi based war stories in the Star Wars universe? Will we get more things like the Skeleton Crew and Eyes Like Stars?
Well, and this is a prose book, right? This is not a graphic
Yeah.
novel. And so many Star Wars fans have been so Star Wars fansian about old prose novels that are no longer canon and wishing they were back. Look, I'm with you. I wish some of that stuff had been brought back into the world as well. But to be revisiting Star Wars in this way really does, I think, open up the opportunities for making some of those wrongs right, I guess, is kind of the way I'm going to put it. Revisiting some of those characters, perhaps, revisiting some of those stories, even with different characters. So I like that this is prose and not a graphic novel, because it does give you a little bit more leeway. It gives you some more space to play, for lack of a better pun, as relates to Star Wars.
I mean, I will also never say no to adaptations. Every single manga and comic adaptation I have seen of a Star Wars comic, I've appreciated, whether it's the manga adaptations of Claudia Gray's sequel books, to, Jody Hauser doing phenomenal adaptations of Timothy Zahn's classic work. I'm all in. So Ashley Poston has earned this position. I am going to trust in this. This sounds incredible. I hope it lives up to it. The last Star Wars romance novel we got was The Wedding of Leia and Han, which was an unbelievable read, even if it was really an advertisement for the hotel that failed at Disney World, the Star Wars Galactic Halcyon. But you know what? Star Wars is a great place for romance. It really is. There are romance going back to the 1977 film. So I'm all for it.
It's a great place for romance, unless that romance is with a guy whose metachlorians are off the scale.
Sometimes
Then maybe not so great.
Sometimes you just don't date the younger male, I hate to say. I mean, she could have dated Obi-Wan and it would have been a completely different series. All right.
I'm going to take a minute now.
Yeah. All right, guys. Street Fighter versus Valiant Universe, the book no one asked for, but man, it's got some pretty covers. Tim Seeley is bringing us Bloodshot versus Cammy. Timmy Haig is bringing us Ninjak versus Dalsim. This is weird, but I'm going to give it a shot. Valiant versus Capcom. Valiant versus Street Fighter. I mean, this is interesting. Some beautiful, beautiful covers on there. I don't know that Bloodshot. Well, I mean, I hate to say, I don't know that there was ever a moment, even when Acclaim was giving me Valiant video games, that I would have ever thought, like, I need Street Fighter versus Valiant characters. And I definitely don't know that Bloodshot versus Cammy is where I would have went. Or Ninjak versus Dalsim. Maybe Ninjak versus Chun-Li, and, Bloodshot versus Ryu. But this is interesting. It is such an out there concept. I want to give it a shot. We'll see. I don't know. Where are you on this, Kyle? You're contemplating. There it is. All right. No words.
No, I'm trying to figure out how to say this without sounding like an absolute jerk. there are times where you don't need every comic book that gets released in a given week, but you still buy them.
Yes.
And this is that for me. I don't need this book. There is actually no fandom interest in this book for me. But I got to see what this story is. Like, it's like when you go see a movie that you don't think you're going to like because you got to see what all the fuss is about, right? That's this for me. And shout out to retailer friend of both Matthias and I, Timmy Heeg, who has a story in this. Like, you know, running a shop and writing comics can't be that easy. So shout out to him for getting it in there, right? Like so part of it is I will pick it up just to support my pal. But I gotta see what this story is because I'm not sure how this makes sense unless it's like a lovers to friends to lovers kind of romance thing.
Well, I mean, I imagine that's what it totally has to be. Ninjak and Dulcim totally going to end as lovers. That's the twist.
Correct. Yes. I was thinking about Cammy and Bloodshot, but yes. Ninjak and Dulcim, maybe that one's just about meditation.
You know, that guy just literally, oh, Timmy, if you didn't write that story, it's just the two of them sitting there meditating at each other the entire time.
You know what? I could get behind that if it was like you're reading it as a guided meditation, like it's helping you to relax as you read it. I get behind that. But no, like this Bloodshot and Cammy story, like I'm interested to see what it is.
Well, just like a war of meditation, how about a murder at a dress-up party? The Hellfire Club is going with yet another Hellfire Gala. The X-Men and all of their friends are dressing up yet again, only for there to be a murder. Who'd ever heard of a murder at a party? Saladin Ahmed, Erica Schultz bring us a incredible sounding one shot with artwork by Tony Daniel and Luciano Vecchio. It is X-Men Hellfire Murder. The gala is crossed out. I will always love these Hellfire Gala one shots because of the incredible costumes and ridiculousness of them. It's not like this is even the first time someone got murdered at a Hellfire Gala, but this just seems great. A ton of amazing covers. You can't not love this Scotty Young cover right here. It is just a thing of beauty because Sherlock Mermaid Logan, brilliant, beyond belief brilliant. But yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see if this murder lasts a little bit longer than Scarlet Witch's did. But yeah, yet another murder at the Hellfire Gala. I'd say they need to stop hosting these things with the death rate on them, but also the resurrection rate balances it out, and it's totally worth it for the costumes.
Well, so here, like the city where I live keeps closing down bars that have a lot of like fights and police calls at them. How is the Hellfire Club even still open? Like, have we not gotten some sort of civil liability problem at this point? Like, this is just getting to be too much.
It's the money. It's all about the money. I'll tell you what we need to start having Met Gala murders. Like when is that going to be the next? Where is that not a like 10 film series already in production? The
feels
Met
like
Gala murders.
Right. It feels like a logical follow up to what's the one with James Bond in them? With Daniel Craig in them.
Just James Bond?
No. Daniel Craig plays a detective.
Knives Out.
Yes, it feels like a logical follow up.
I got there in the end, James Bond. Tell you though, right now I will give this to you guys free. Hannah Rose May, IDW, Met Gala Murders. I will read that comic. All right, guys. Those are the big ones from Penguin Random House. Some great covers available, some amazing manga, a lot of other options. So make sure you go to prhcomics.com to look over all of those amazing options. But I think it's time we switched over to Lunar because we're coming up on the top of the hour there. And it was
Absolutely.
a great time to discuss what's coming out from DC, Image Comics, Oni Press, Dynamite, and more.
Well, speaking of Dynamite, before we get to our Lunar, as I stall for time while we wait for our guest a little bit. Remember, guys, if you head over to theexplive.com right now, you can pick up our Ben 10 number 1 variants, our Ben 10 number 2 variants, and we announced it yesterday, and I'm not sure I was allowed. We are doing a Ben 10 number 3 variant. Those are our exclusives. Head over to the EXP Live to check those out. I will show you quickly the covers. So here is the Ben 10 number 1 by artist Jay Fosgett. These are incredibly limited editions. And here is our Ben 10 number 2, Ultraviolet by Eric Canetti. I can tell you that our number 3 is also Eric Canetti.
Ooh.
Again, don't know if I'm allowed to tell you that or not, but I did it. So if we're going to put Greg on the hot seat by making him confirm stuff that he isn't supposed to confirm, I'm going to confirm stuff that I don't think I'm supposed to confirm. So, meh.
Order up. We drop information without any approval.
Yeah.
All right. So one I forgot to mention at PRH. This is actually 100% of my failure. Nano, new Dark Horse series from Alexandra Grant, Matt Kent, and Natasha Bustos, which is an all-star list of names. I mean, we all know Matt Kent. Everyone loves him, from Dark Horse to Boom to Oni Press. He makes some unbelievable stuff, even bad ideas. Natasha Bustos just brought us Skate Ali, helped bring us Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Absolutely brilliant artists. And then Alexandra Grant adding to it. This is a powerhouse of creators. I am really curious about this new comic series. It is an interesting tale about a young woman who has to play the role of housewife for an undercover gig working at a school. Unfortunately, when her partner, both literally and metaphorically, ends up in the hot seat, she has to be dragged into a greater role and help fight. But I love the idea of that, like, kindergarten cop-esque, special, well-trained, talented agent becoming a school teacher. It just makes me wonder and hope that the number one thing she asked her 8th grade students are, who is your daddy and what does he do?
Who is your daddy and what does he do? Yes, absolutely. And like, if you are a child of a certain age and you didn't have an immediate, like, visceral reaction to that, are you okay?
There it is. All right. So Nano, new series coming out from Dark Horse. Retailers, take a look at your ordering options on there. There is definite reason to try testing the waters on it. So give it a shot. I think it'll be a fun one. So with that said, you cool hopping over to Lunar, Kyle?
Let's go.
All right. Reminding you all, lunardistribution.com, this wonderful website. You just scroll down a hair to upcoming FOC. Make sure you're on the right date, and you will know because the second printing of Absolute Catwoman gets to sit right next to Absolute Flash. We have 3 new covers for Absolute Catwoman. 3 new printings. One of them a brand new cover, this amazing Gilliam March featuring our Absolute Selena Kyle, as well as a foil of that ultra hot Carrie Andrews piece, and then some new Absolute Flash fun. Now, adding to the Absolute love, we have Absolute Green Arrow number 3, and some awesome adventures with our beloved Simon and Marceline in Adventure Time 15. God, I adore this unbelievable John Golden cover with Marcy. Then it took forever, but Assorted Crises event number 9 is on FOC with that long overdue Invincible crossover cover. But yes, the Eisner nominated, the multi-Eisner nominated comic by the incredible Dennis Camp and Eric Zawadzki is on FOC. I have been dying waiting for this. We've had 3 printings of issue number 8. and we've all been waiting for the big follow-up with issue number 9. This is
Well,
the brilliant
and remember, guys, pick up your Assorted Crisis events, because you don't know, once this series ends, when you'll get more, because Dennis Camp has just signed an exclusive deal with DC. So we can go make more great Absolute books, like Absolute Martian Manhunter. So, like, this may be your shot.
Indeed. And if you want covers that are likely to stir up the aftermarket, Drax is back on Essentia 35. That is definitely going to be a cover that people are going to be all in on. So make sure you're not buying that for a high premium on the aftermarket. Just tell your comic shop if you would like it, so they can guarantee it's there waiting for you. Now, I would love to talk Badrock, but I don't think it's... Is it time?
It's time.
Kyle?
But what was that movement? I don't...
That was a take it away,
Anyway.
Kyle.
All right. Sorry, Matthias is throwing me off with his furtive gestures, or whatever you call them. Guys, the next book we're going to talk about is Badrock, but in order to do that, we're going to need to bring in somebody who knows more about Badrock than I do or Matthias does, and that's mainly because they're drawing it. Like, that's just how that works. So I want to, without further ado, bring in my favorite person in comics, only if for no other reason, because he lets me sleep in his basement sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Seth Damoose.
Only sometimes.
Yeah, normally it's shit, right?
Sometimes. All right, yeah. So before we dive into what Badrock number 1 is, Seth, we have a lot of guests on here who people may have known, but this is really your first big thing. So give people your bio just a little bit.
Oh boy. So I started out making a webcomic called Brawlhalla 150 years ago with a good friend of mine, Jeff Stevenson. We created that, and we did over 400 pages of content, I suppose, that was available for free on the internet. That was where I basically got my teeth cut and taught myself learning how to try and master as best I could the storytelling art of making comic books. From there, I garnered the attention of one Jim Valentino, and was invited to work on a book called I Hate Gallant Girl through his Shadowline Studios. From there, I met Josh Williamson, and Josh Williamson and I did a book called Xenoholics through Jim Valentino's studio. And this is, again, like 100 years ago, before Josh Williamson was Josh Williamson. Then it was off to more creator-owned and working on things like Tales of Mystery, Floppy Cop, just little odds and ends here and there for...
You did Savants with the legendary Gary Reed.
Yes, did Savants with Gary Reed. Ended up, unfortunately, being the last book he worked on. That was an honor of mine, as I grew up loving what he was doing at Caliber and all of the inter and cross promotion that he did for the comic industry, not just around the Detroit area, but everywhere. So yeah, it was a real pleasure working with him.
So Badrock, 35 years ago, Youngblood comes out from Rob Liefeld and Extreme Studios and all of this. And Badrock wasn't actually Badrock yet. And I want to get into how hard it was for me not to put his old catchphrase on the thumbnail. But tell everybody how you got to start working with Rob, because I think it's an interesting story. If you're out there and you're an artist, I think the story that Seth has of getting to this point is really an interesting and instructive story.
Yeah. So essentially, I had been working with a friend of mine, Ryan Cody. We were going to do, instead of Inktober 1 October, I had the idea, well, how fun would it be, a couple of kids from the 90s doing Robtober, where every character is a Rob Liefeld creation, and we do a new one every day. How fun would that be? Ryan agreed. Unfortunately, he didn't have the time in his schedule to do it, so I just kind of played in that sandbox on my own. And that garnered Rob Liefeld's attention. And I remember I was at work, working my day job, and my phone kept blowing up, getting text messages and private messages from friends and people I hadn't even ever heard of. They're like, answer your phone. Rob Liefeld's trying to get a hold of you. And that sort of grew into a little side job where I was doing grayscaling and zipatones over his Last Blood comic book that he had available on his website, as well as the new relaunch of Youngblood. He wanted to do these, what he called the manga editions, where it's all black and white with zipatones. So I started doing that, and he says, as we were getting closer to Youngblood actually launching, he said, hey, I want to launch a new Badrock book. Would you want to draw it? And yeah, I mean,
So,
is that even a question, right?
Right. So it really is a story of this idea of you just were out here doing it, throwing it on Instagram, throwing it on social media, just making art, promoting yourself, and somebody, the caliber of Rob Liefeld saw it. So it's really a story about how the grind can pay off, right?
It can. It's exhausting, and I don't know that it's necessarily sustainable. I mean, I like to make the joke that I'm just now entering the 20th year of my overnight success 20-year plan. So it either had to hit or it wasn't going to, right? But no, we all, as artists, we catch so much flack because we're so self-deprecating and we're so critical of our own selves and our talents. But deep down, we have to believe enough, at least in ourselves, to put it out there. Because essentially, that's the connection that we're trying to make when we make the art, is to get it out there for everyone to see, whether they're going to like it or not. So it's almost just don't stop. There's no such thing as bad art. There's no such thing as good art. It's just whether or not it connects with somebody or not.
So Badrock releases as part of Youngblood, comes out, all those years ago. If you don't know, it was originally Bedrock. And I really wanted to put Yabba Dabba Doom on the thumbnail, but I didn't because it might confuse people. So,
So
tell
that's saying.
Sure. Tell the people about Badrock.
So Badrock is the youngest member of the Youngblood team. You can't tell because he's just this giant hulking mass of rock of a hero, but inside he is actually a teenage boy. So you get to have the playing off of those two dichotomies of, you have a teenager as essentially the largest and one of the strongest heroes on the planet, having to deal with very grown-up situations. And that's the fun part for me, is the one drawing him, is getting to play with this sort of childlike innocence and the sass and the cockiness of a teenager, hidden underneath the exterior of this massive golem of a character.
So issue 1 is on FOC Monday. Tell us what you can about issue 1.
So issue 1 is Badrock's essentially on vacation or on leave from the team after the events of what's been going on in Youngblood. And then his mother is abducted, and he's now obviously tasked to setting out to rescue his mother.
So when you're working on this, and I'm going to ask a question that I know the answer to, but I'm going to ask anyway. What is that process like with Rob as he's giving you the story and asking you to draw it?
So this is the first time I think that I can remember. I may be wrong. Sorry, every other writer that I've worked with. I think this is the first time I've worked truly in the old school Marvel style of writing, making comic books. So essentially, the script I get from Rob is bullet points. It's a sentence or two for a description for each page, and he's basically trusted me to, come up with the panel layouts, the panel counts, and just do the storytelling work to make the beats hit and make the story flow and move. There have been a few edits here and there where, just Rob reaching out, talking about, hey, let's change this angle a little bit to amp up the suspense for a page turn. But yeah, for the most part, it's been a lot of creative freedom for me from Rob, which I mean is astonishing to me because who am I to Rob Liefeld, right?
Well, and that's the interesting thing. When you have an artist with the kind of renown of Rob Liefeld, what is it like drawing his characters? Like, again, you're someone who grew up reading Rob stuff. Like,
Yep.
what is it like to play in that sandbox? But also, what is it like to send pages off to him and have him respond to them?
It was real weird at first, super intimidating because it was like, don't mess this up, don't mess this up. But right from the get go, and this is why I probably have the job in the first place. Rob likes what I'm doing, so I would send him pages and layouts, and it even started with like an initial couple of drawings of essentially my version of Badrock. And one of the comments he made to me was that he liked it so much, and he was amazed because most people who draw Badrock, he found there has to be like a learning curve where they figure out how to get the mechanics and the anatomy of it right. Like that giant bowl-shaped jaw of his gets tricky for some folks, I guess. But he said I nailed it right out of the gate. So that boosts the confidence and makes you feel all warm and fuzzy that one of your heroes and growing up is a fan of what you're doing. But yeah, so that's gotten easier, and we've gotten more comfortable going back and forth. I've never really had any issues with edits or critiques from writers that I've worked with in the past. And honestly, Rob doesn't have a whole lot. It feels like we've gelled pretty good, and I'm doing what he's looking for, and we're feeding off of each other.
So on issue 1, you have 2 covers that you've done. This is the E cover, and I'll go back quickly to the A cover. But you also have, as I've showed, you've got a couple of covers by Rob and one by Brett Bean.
Yes. Love that, Brett Bean.
What's it like having to see again Rob's take on a book that your pages are inside of, Rob's covers, or Brett Bean's covers on a book that your pages are inside of, and what's it like to see your own covers on?
It's humbling, it's exciting, it's a little nerve-wracking. Like you said earlier, this is the highest profile gig I've had to date. So, there's the part of me that's just trying to stay in my shoes and remember, I'm just a guy in the Midwest making comic books, doing the best I can. But as things like this come up and I see more and more online, and there's, I'm sure there will be reviews coming and whatever, because it's got a high profile Rob Liefeld and Image Comics name on it. Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to handle it. I go in fits and spurts where some days, some minutes of a day, it feels amazing and I'm on top of the world. And then there's other times where it's like, oh gosh, what if this just doesn't land?
I hear you. So right now, so on issue 1, you had the A, and then you have this Liefeld cover.
Yep.
You've got this Brett Bean.
I think that's the Bean.
Yeah, that's the Bean. You got another Rob Liefeld, and then you have this cover. Something that Dan is mentioning in the chat, and that you can see if you search Badrock on Lunar distribution, is you can see some of the forthcoming covers. It's a 3-issue series.
So far.
Let's talk so far, right? Let's talk about what's coming. I mean, again, as far as you're allowed to say, like, can you tell us about some of the other covers you have coming up? Can you tell us about some of the other things that might happen in the story?
Yeah, I don't know that I want to reveal too much about the story. So the first issue, it starts his mother's kidnapped and he has to go save his mom. And throughout that adventure into issue 2, in trying to save his mom, there's a new monster and villain that arrives to thwart the saving of his mom. And then another new villain shows up in issue 3 as well. So There will be tons of new characters, tons of fun, all action almost all the time. Lots of splash pages and double page splashes and just big hits is coming so far in the first 3 issues. As far as covers going, with issue 2, I started doing more homage covers just because I'm a big fan of them, and I wanted to tip my cap to some of the great artists and comic books that came before me that, you know, allow me to be here as an artist myself. Yeah, that's one of them. I thought that was appropriate, and honestly, it was a fun joke for me to homage the Dark Knight. The Jim Steranko one I thought was a fitting homage. That's for issue 3, and the Dale
And
Keown,
then the Hulk.
and the Badrock just kind of lends himself to be similar to the Hulk as far as body type goes. So it's those types of images I thought married well together.
So one thing that I've often kind of thought about when it comes to Badrock, and it's a weird question, but I'm gonna ask it. Look like the Thing.
Yeah, I suppose he could look like the Thing. I mean, there's the 3 fingers is very similar. The thing that I think a lot of folks get wrong about the Thing is his actual size. Like in the original Kirby iterations, Ben Grimm is still 6 foot tall, 5'11", or whatever he is. He's just made of big orange rocks. So I can see the similarities in the rock skin, and we just try not to do it where it's all chunks of rocks. He's just these solid stone.
Well, and you talked about that, he's the youngest member. So one of the covers of issue 2, Matthias, if you don't mind, the C cover there, it kind of, he's a teenager. And I love that you're able to capture, who this character is as a teenager. So yep. I think that's a fun cover. People should be on the lookout for.
Yeah,
so, okay.
It's the lighter side of the superhero game, right?
Absolutely. So, we're not going to take too much more of your time, but just as a kind of a last sort of wrap up question here, Badrock. We'll go back to Badrock number 1. As you, as people head into their shops in the next few days to place their orders, what's the thing you would have them to know about this book that would, if they're not already on board with all the stuff we've talked about, that would get them to go, okay, I'm going to, like in my case, quintuple my shop's order, or I'm going to go into my shop and order it if they weren't already going to.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a book that I think you don't necessarily have to know the history, the 30-year-old history that is Badrock and Youngblood. This is, every comic book could be somebody's first comic book. So the way Rob wrote it and the way I'm drawing it is, it's very much an introductory story, which is tricky for an existing character, but you don't have to know anything coming in. This is a fresh story, a fresh start, new adventure. If you like big action, if you like fast-paced stories, cool art, if I dare say so myself, this would be one for you. It's a ton of fun. It feels like just a fun comic book. It doesn't take itself too serious. I mean, there's tongue-in-cheek jokes. It's a blast, actually. And I know it's been fun working on it, so I hope that shows through in the pages as well, and that can be a connection that we all make with the book at the same time.
So if people want to support you, if they want to shut up, Pat. Pat is in the comments. Anyway, that's an inside joke. I'm sorry, the internet. If people want to follow you, if people want to support you, if they want to meet you, see you, get this signed, where can they find you?
So I've got a signing at Tardy's Collectors corner in Grand Rapids on the day the book comes out, July 15th. I will be there from, I believe it's 4 to 8 on that Wednesday. The very next Saturday, I will be at the Comic Signal, also in Grand Rapids, doing a signing there. I'll be there for the better part of the day. Haven't locked in quite the times yet. Don, the owner, but that'll be that Wednesday and Saturday. Then my next appearance is still in the works, but I'll be in the Saginaw, Michigan area, hopefully at Coy's Comics for the release of issue 2 in August. And then, oh boy, Cincinnati Comic Expo in September, and the Grand Rapids Con in November is what I've got locked in so far.
Okay. Other than Badrock, is there anything you can talk about that you're working on that's coming out that's, people should be on the lookout for going forward?
Yeah, so I did two-issue story, about 48, 50 pages with Ryan Cody for his property called Old Man Thunder Punch. He kickstarted the first issue, and he's got copies, and I'm waiting for my copies of that beyond the Kickstarter releases. So hopefully I'll have those soon. I talked to Ryan, and I think he got them shipped out to me just the other day, so they should be showing up any minute now. But that's going to be a fun book. Old Man Thunder Punch is World War I fighter pilot that went down during the war, and now it's his job to essentially protect and protect the in-between world, in between life and death. So it's sort of like a purgatory. But yeah, he's deemed himself the protector, and he's been unalive for over 100 years doing this job, and that's how he's become the old man. But yeah, if you like crotchety old guys with white beards who like to punch things, that's going to be a good one to check out too.
Awesome. Where can people follow you on social media? Where can they pick stuff up? Website, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so website is dam.inc, I-N-K, D-A-M.I-N-K. I've got prints available up there. I've got a couple of issues, I believe, of Youngblood #2 that I did the manga tones for. On Twitter, I am at Damoose Seth, just my name backwards. Instagram is Seth Damoose, and I have a page on Facebook called Dam Inc., The Art of Seth Damoose. Check me out there.
And I do have to say, Dam.inc is a pretty nice website, if I do say so myself. Anyway,
Yeah, well, I think the guy who set it all up is pretty talented at what he does.
Yeah, I think that guy's probably going to have to list some some Badrock issues soon. Anyway, but no. So, brother, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming on to talk about Badrock. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for the book. Guys, head into your local comic shop in the next couple of days before Monday and place your orders and blow the book up if you like Seth, if you like his work, if you like what we're doing here. And then remember to go ahead and subscribe. But most shops will just subscribe for the forthcoming issues. So make sure you do that as well. So thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to bring Matthias back on. We are going to continue on with everything at Lunar. We'll go over all the order codes and stuff. Thank you so much for being here, buddy.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure, guys.
Thanks for coming out, Seth. Yeah, I got to say, after Youngblood 100, and multiple printings of that, I am reading more Rob Liefeld than I ever thought I would, and I'm pretty much all in on this Badrock. That just sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about some other hot covers, though, that are out because, man, DC is just on fire with their variants recently, and Batwoman is a key example with everything from Nicola Scott, Scott Forbes, Danny, and Stepan Sejic. All of those look amazing on this brilliant piece from the incredible Greg Rucka and Danny. But that's not all. Catwoman, equally fire with Frank Cho, Ji-Hyung Lee, Sebastian Fiamura, Scott Forbes. And did you see this Omer swimsuit issue? I love the swimsuit issues from DC lately because they seem to be 50-50 between sexy men and sexy women. And they are all just absolute fire and oddly nowhere near any water. Just seems to be the theme. Let's do swimsuit issues without water this year. But Torrin Groenbeck doing a great job on Catwoman. We have the continuing tales of Conan the Barbarian and classic tales. But the first big thing I really want to talk about after that amazing interview with Seth on Badrock is Tom Taylor's Dark Knights of Steel. Now, we were almost going to have two guests. Me and Tom worked tirelessly trying to figure out how to do this, but being in Australia, the time zones were not playing in our favor. But yes, we have Tom Taylor and Otto Schmidt back with Yasmin Putri doing covers this time for Dark Knights of Steel Volume 2. I feel Dark Knights of Steel was one of the titles that single-handedly revived the Elseworld line at DC. And I am beyond ecstatic to return to this tale where Jor-El, his wife, and his son, Kal-El, landed centuries before the traditional timeline of Kryptonians reaching Earth. And in that, it said about the beginning of the DC universe in medieval times in a most amazing way. We get a return to the Dark Knights of Steel with a new 12-issue miniseries, some stunning covers, and all of that fun of true knights, swords, and sorcery. This is going to be a great return. A lot of great covers. I wish I could have had Tom here talking about it, but one way or another, just know this is a must-order series from DC. Then we get a new story arc of Jackie Estacado and the Darkness. Mark Silvestri still writing. Awesome Raymond Gay interiors. I am beyond belief excited on this because Raymond is a phenomenal artist as well. And if for any reason you're not caught up, the first trade paperback, which has varying artists from Raymond Gay to Ed Benez, Mark Silvestri writing, reviving Jackie Estacado as the Darkness for a new generation, while still being something fans who have been reading for decades can appreciate. We've got two different covers, a direct market and a mass market for the Darkness Volume 1. And one I'm excited about, old school Harley Quinn stories getting reprinted, Carl Kessel, Judd Winnick, and more. We have classic Silver Age story tales, original art reproduced as it currently is. The incredible Scott Dunbier's Act 4 Publishing is doing a DC Silver Age covers and stories piece that is going to take classic stories from Carmine Infantino, from Sheldon Mayer, and Gil Kane, amongst other, Joe Kubert. You're going to get all of those original covers and those original stories as, scanned in as if you own the original art at 1-to-1 scale. This is always exciting. I love artist editions. I love the Act 4, line. This has just got me beyond hyped. I mean, the fact that you will be able to read Green Lantern #1 in its original art form. You'll get to see hints of those early key Flash stories, Atom stories, Sugar and Spike, and others. This is going to be awesome. And that's a very cool direct market exclusive, that classic race between Superman and Flash.
If you're going to get a cover, man, that's the cover.
Well, maybe I might have an opposing opinion when I get to the top 10, but we'll see. A lot of great continuing series from DC, Image Comics, and others. Just in time, as in nowhere near in time for Christmas, The Deviant gets a hardcover edition, and there is going to be a direct market exclusive hardcover as well. Retailers are going to want to check that, and if you want to gamble, reach out to your retailer and place that order. I mean, Kyle and I were discussing it earlier, that Gagnon cover, on Department of Truth. Well, it's a 1 in 25 worth keeping an eye on. Maybe it might be the thing that drags people back on Department of Truth with Ben Templesmith doing interior artwork now, taking over from Martin Simmons for at least a little bit on Department of Truth 38 has my 100% attention because I am always a fan of 30 Days Night and Wormwood Gentleman Corpse. So Ben Templesmith interiors, consider me interested. Meanwhile, we talked about Brett Bean earlier doing an awesome cover on Badrock #1 or Badrock #1. Now you got me saying Bedrock, but Badrock #1. Dork starts its second storyline with Dork issue #6. I mean, we had Brett on when this was originally talked, and he said he was ready for 50 plus issues. So as we start the second arc on this unbelievable indie comic, I'm hoping this is just the second of many, many arcs to come. Some great covers available there for Dork issue #6. And if for any reason you haven't been able to get a hold of Dork, there are trade paperbacks available now on FOC, $9.99 for the first 5 issues. That's an unbelievable deal considering a first printing #1 is going to run you around $75 to $100. And if you want a blank, you have another opportunity with new Bloody Dork blanks for issue #6. Then, breaking out of its first year, Catacomb of Torment hits its second year with issue 13. Some great stories from Liam Johnson, Andrew Wheeler, and Alan Wu. We have more craziness from Vertigo, from Vault, and from others, and a new $10 compact trade with Bill Willingham and Mark Buckingham's Fables. First 10 issues for $10. If you've never read Fables, if you ever liked Once Upon a Time or any of those classic Disney tales taken to a more mature level, that is one of the key pieces of that classic Vertigo storytelling from Bill Willingham that I am so happy to get into more hands at this affordable and travel-friendly edition. Lot ahead with G.I. Joe. Gun Honey getting issue #2 on FOC. Some very sexy covers from this crazy pulp comic that Ken. And the weirdest thing I could have ever fathomed seeing, LeBron James has a kid's book. Did you know about that, Kyle?
Well, I feel like LeBron James is going to just be doing all kinds of things as he approaches retirement. But writing a kid's book, it makes sense for him. He's been somebody who's given back a lot of information, a lot of educational opportunities, and done a lot of stuff to help kids in the Akron, Cleveland area. So feels like the right thing for him.
I think it's awesome. So LeBron James and Ariel Landy bring us Happy Spooky Halloween. Great kids book that just looks like all sorts of fun. And just a twist, though, I would have never guessed, it's LeBron James, So very, very cool, piece. We can also get you the hardcover of that haunting tale from Chris Condon, Christopher Cantwell, and Zach Thompson, High Strangeness. I know Kyle read this, and haunting piece.
Yeah, I loved this book. It was in my opinion, one of the best books of last year. And again, you have these stories that you kind of hear like American mythology. They're you think about the Slender Man or some of these other things. This is part of that, right? You've heard the stories of the Men in Black, not Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith, but the actual Men in Black. You've heard these stories.
The truly creepy Men in Black.
Right. So the fact that Chris Condon and Chris Cantwell were doing a story on this felt really apropos for that part of American mythology. And the story wound up being very strong and a lot of fun.
Indeed. All right. Hardcover now on FOC, along with some great trades. Honor and Curse, Hyde Street Volume 2. We have our newest issues of If Destruction Be Our Lot. just the hit indie book right now. I am adoring every single issue of Rosie's Amazing Tale. More Battle Beast printings, which had you have asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said, we don't need it. There's no way we need it. I ordered a ridiculous amount of copies on Invincible Battle Beast's previous run of reprints that we talked about on FOC a few weeks back, and I'm all sold out. This is the book that will not stop. So an 8th printing of #1 on Battle Beast. We have all the beautiful new covers in that epic tale as Battle Beast takes it to conquest in a bloody battle, issue number 11 on FOC. And then, oh, wait, more printings of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like I should go, because I am counting at this point. Kyle would have done it way better than I would have. There it is. He's the Muppet here. But all these brand new covers on these brand new printings of Battle Beast, and I'm going to be an idiot and buy them all again like I don't already own like 7 covers for every issue of Battle Beast. And I got to restock my store because we're sold out because Invincible cannot and will not slow down. But all the way through issue number 9, new printings available. So there is no reason not to be caught up on one of the hottest Image books. And I mean, it's crazy. I get to keep saying this. Hottest Image books with things like Dork, things like If Destruction Be Our Lot, Youngblood blowing up. We have the upcoming Badrock that is just going to be amazing. It's just, there is no wrong at Image Comics right now. They are fire. Junk Punch, which did incredibly well. I think this was a massively well-received book from Paul Tobin with amazing little bits from Colleen Coover. Yes, we are getting issue number 2 finally. I am super excited on that because Paul is going to have our young female heroine continue to punch junk. Lady Mechanica continuing on, along with great titles like Lobo and M1 Monster Racing.
And M1 #1 was so good.
Such a fun read. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Absolutely brilliant. No reason not to be checking this out. If you want an interesting one, Mr. Nemo, new book from Mark London, featuring a young man who wants to rebel against the traditional, as well as to fight a conspiracy of an evil organization trying to bring the world under one government, a shadow government. This Nemo goes much like the path of our classic Nemo with a submarine of rebellion. I really don't know how to take this book. I sat down and gave the first issue a read, and the opening story or part of the story caught my attention. And it feels so weird of like all these awesome epic things I want, and in the same, too much. Like it leans on that level of like campy. What was that Bruce Campbell show where he was in Polynesia fighting in a Zorro-esque Scarlet Pumpernickel fashion? You don't. Oh, you know the show.
I'm going to go with
Kyle.
Bubba Hotep, even though I know it's wrong.
No. But it feels like that Campbell-esque campy. In fact, if it was Bruce Campbell playing Mr. Nemo, I'd probably adore this. But I don't know if it's as tongue-in-cheek as it set up feels.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
In that, again, it did feel campy, but to me, it felt campy in the way, again, you had Xena Warrior Princess, or you had, Kevin Sorbo in whatever that show he did was.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give him credit. And then, you had some campy, like actiony shows, right? Like almost old school Doctor Who-ian. It almost feels like you could see the strings coming off the submarine as it moves through the water. And if you don't go into it taking it too seriously, I think you can enjoy it. But I think the thing you have to be careful of with this book is that this book takes itself seriously.
Yes.
So knowing that it's campy, it's supposed to be campy, and at the same time, it's intentionally campy.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It is that spirit of all those 90s TV shows from Xena, Hercules, Cleopatra 2020, the series that from Bruce Campbell that I loved and I cannot remember at all, as well as just all of those. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, even it has that feel. But yes, it is crazy steampunk, cyber, techno, John Wick in a submarine fighting an evil organization. But yeah, it's an interesting new one from Mark London. Stunning artwork from Alden K. I have to point out some great covers there. I want to point out, well, we had Duncan Merlot's awesome cover on screen. This is the cover by the interior artist Alden K. So if you like that, you're going to find that artwork inside. And I adored the artwork on this. So it's going to be a unique one. I don't know that it'll be for everyone, but the people who enjoy it will definitely enjoy it. A lot of great continuing series, some amazing cheesecake covers, like Dan Mora giving us some awesome Nightwing butt in the swimsuit with the surfboard. A lot of great fun to be had there. Ninja High School rolling forward, with more fun from that long-running Antarctic Press series. More fun from Phantom. Actually, I had to go back. The Odyssey of Star Wars, much like our Shakespearean Star Wars books, this is going to be an epic poem version of the various Star Wars stories. So all sorts of fun with those twists in how you present your books.
The nice thing about this, the Odyssey of Star Wars, if you ever wanted to write a rap that sums up Star Wars, this is going to be your source material.
There it is. Yes. I love it.
That's how some of us had to learn Beowulf, bro. So.
For you fans of the Unbelievables, you have been waiting a solid year for the moment where the Rockefellers teamed up with Hornsby and Halo. And it finally happens here thanks to the $1 Trillion Kid. Again, I can't get over the fact that Ghost Machine and Jeff Johns are so big that as part of the promotion for $1 Trillion Kid, they managed to make a real world trillionaire the week the #1 dropped. Crazy good move. Like, that's marketing at its best, Jeff. Well done. Well done. Kyle did not care for that joke.
Yeah, no. But I will say this, $1 Trillion Kid in a big way was this week's dork, right? It was a book that way sort of outshot expectations for a lot of folks. And Jeff put a lot of power behind it coming to retailers. So, and so did all of Ghost Machine, right? Jeff and Pete Tomasi and everybody who's working on these books really is showing that when they work together, they can create some really, really, really good stuff. And the power of like the team. So I'm very excited for this. I really enjoyed $1 Trillion Kid #1. I'm really excited for this whole Unbelievables 4-part arc. Who are the Unbelievables? And I'm excited to see what they do once this ends.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. I've always thought this about Peter Tomasi. I've said it to his face. He is a brilliant writer for all ages material because it is truly all ages. He doesn't talk down to children, which is what no kid wants a comic that talks down to them. They'll be read that when they're very young. But, as somebody who is a young man reading Watchmen, you always want to read above your mental grade. And that is where Peter is perfect. He doesn't make it darker, mature, and it's like, oh my God, you're the kid sneaking away with a comic. This is something that a kid will enjoy. It is not talking down to him, but an adult with far too much gray in his beard can still equally appreciate it because it is well-written, good material. And that is where Tomasi shined in his all ages stories. Is they're great for everyone. The Rockefellers is this way. Halo and Hornsby is this way. Jeff did a brilliant job, a beyond brilliant job with $1 Trillion Kid. And I am so hoping that when part 4 of the Unbelievables drops, it drops with a huge hint of notably more, because they are introducing some great characters in these books in this event. And I want more. I want more of the Unbelievables. If you have been sleeping on it, fix it. fix it. Go to your comic shop, demand more. They'll reach out to the great Ghost Machine sales rep and she'll make it happen. These are books you need to be reading. Grab the trade paperbacks that are out now. Go track down the single issues. Enjoy it.
And know that $1 Trillion Kid went to second printing. That's almost something that never happens with Image books, and definitely never happens with Ghost Machine books because they're pretty smart about how they print. But it's going to a second printing. That's how big a deal $1 Trillion Kid is this week. So make sure you're jumping on getting the second printing if you couldn't get a first printing of $1 Trillion Kid. And as Miss Jen would say on her show, everything in the Unbelievables universe is a pointy book. It means we're pointing at it going, you should buy this for reasons.
All right. And before, I was hoping we were going to get to the $1 Trillion Kid second printing within a single tap, but I couldn't because I had to stop and talk about Savage Sword of Conan, number 15. Look, I always loved Conan. We just had the Robert E. Howard Con in Texas last weekend, but this is an all-star cast because Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor are co-writing a Savage Sword of Conan story. I mean, I love all their Red Sonja tales. I cannot wait for this Conan tale with artwork by Andy Belanger. And then on top of that, you get Tom DeFalco doing a story with Ron French. You're going to get that beautiful Esad Ribbit cover. Just everything about this is Conan at its height. I like it.
I'm going to have to send an email after the show because there's a book I want to happen now.
All right.
And it's like I know the people who can make it happen. Anyway.
Are you saying you're going to email Jimmy Palmiotti?
I'm saying I'm going to email the publisher at Dynamite and the publisher at Titan going, look, we need a collab.
I would not say no to a new Red Sonja Conan crossover if you're hinting at it.
With them writing.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, God. Could you imagine if you could talk Amanda into drawing and Jimmy into drawing it too? Oof.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So perfectly timed with that awesome Act 4 Silver Age masterpiece. We're going to get another masterpiece by Carmine Infantino, the story that introduced Barry Allen, the first appearance. It is Showcase number 4. Now, I got quizzed on this, and I screwed it up when I was quizzed on it, so I now know the correct answer. But Kyle, do you know the name of the story that the Flash first appears in?
No.
Dead Silence. So I screwed up. I will admit I screwed up when I was quizzed on this, and I said it was the mystery of the Scarlet Thunderbolt. It is the mystery of the human Thunderbolt. But, clearly very fitting, and I'm shocked that isn't used more in wonderful like collections and storyline titles for the Flash. But now you too can own one of the most sought after and defining pieces of the Silver Age, because this is one of the defining things that started the Silver Age of comics. Showcase number 4, the first appearance of Barry Allen Flash.
Hey, yo, DC. I know there's been some concern recently about confusing Barry Allen and Wally Wood and some of these different Flashes in the main universe. What if it was Wally Wood, the human lightning bolt? Or not Wally Wood.
Wally West.
Wally West.
No.
Wally West, the human lightning bolt.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you could have them both, and I've been dying for a new Wally West Flash story.
There it is. All right. Meanwhile, for those of you guys who want more evil female tyrants in manga, Side Quest to World Domination is going to offer that. Weird theme that we have multiple female tyrant manga in the same week of FOC. Then something epic is back. Simon Krudansky did an amazing tale with No Man's Land. It sold out. Everyone wanted it. There's a movie in development. And now he comes back with something epic with even more great homage covers. I mean, speaking of EC, this beautiful cover there. We obviously have that Friday the 13th homage and more we'll be talking about momentarily. But with the return of things like Space Ghost with a new annual and more K-pop homages, I don't think anyone at Dynamite knows what a K-pop is. but I still love these beautiful lyrics. Lee homages. We have Super Creep Show back with Rom V telling a tale of don't meet your heroes, especially when they're super. And some amazing forms with Supermondo Mega Mutts. Kurt Piers, the man who has been bringing you hits like Lost Fantasy, 51, and now Fireborn brings you another one that's soon to be a major hit. Supermondo Mega Mutts tells the tale of something crazy happening in LA where humans can't go there. So, of course, what do humans do? They do what they've always proven themselves to do. They send animals to do their job. When they send a few military trained dogs to go into LA and find what's going on, well, they morph into the Supermondo Mega Mutts. It is crazy. It is totally Teenage Mutant Turtles. But, let's face it. Kurt Piers is the new Robert Kirkman, where he takes a great concept and then twists it. Robert was doing that with zombie stories for Walking Dead, superhero stories for Invincible, etc., etc., etc. Kurt now does that with amazing things. Lost Fantasy is your Final Fantasy meets John Constantine. Fireborn is your Batman meets Game of Thrones-esque twist. This is your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, now with a canine incisor. I love it. This looks amazing. New one from Oni with great art by Juan Gideon and some unbelievable covers there. One that is on the nose we'll be talking about momentarily in the top 10.
Well, right. Juan Gideon is the perfect artist for this. And in a year where you're getting, this book and you're also getting a return to some of the great 90s, we're going to turn animals into martial artists type books with the new adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters Kickstarter that's running from Dynamite. It's a good.
Did we lose everything?
Am I back?
Still here? Yep, you're back.
We're thunderstorm rolling through, so my internet's going to get spotty. But no, it's a good year for animals doing people things.
I love it. And man, again, 1 in 10 variant. It's not going to be at every comic shop, and it's not going to be cheap, but it is the cutest cover imaginable. I want that Juan Gideon Lost Dog cover. I'm waiting. As soon as we get off the air, I'm calling this phone number to see what it is. Is that just by chance like Torma's phone number?
Hold on. Can you scroll up so I can see it?
555 number. It's fake. I'm joking. It's that classic Hollywood trick of a number, 555.
Let's see if I can get this. It's not going to work. I was going to try and call it and play it on the air, but I don't have the right setup set up.
No, you can't do it. It's a 555 number. It's a fake number.
No, it's a 213 number.
Yeah, but the
555 next 3.
Yep.
All right. You know what? I'm sure Hunter. I'm sure the Oni press people blew their "we need extra phone numbers" load on Mind Management.
Yes. All right. Superman Unlimited, part of this reign of Superman storyline, but I got to emphasize this beautiful Zoe Thorogood cover because anytime Zoe does anything, it deserves some spotlight. That is beautiful. Tigress Island wraps up with its final issue. I am beyond hyped on that. $1 Trillion Kid, you heard it from Kyle first. Second printing, amazing cover by Ivan Reyes. Then we get some more Vampirella fun, Walking Dead Deluxe. And the big one for me is Wonder Woman 35. All these brilliant covers. Stunning swimsuit edition by Q Yong Yeom. And we're going to see more of Tom King's Epic. But if we're going to talk Epic, we got to get to our top 10.
All right.
All right. Starting it off with the honorable mention, it is Salvage. You heard me talk about it. I am beyond excited. It is divided society, it is rising sea levels, and it is romance despite this dystopian. Renee Null, you got to grab it. At number 10, Seth Damoose on Badrock. I mean, that's a great cover. Kyle, you did the great interview with him. This is my moment to shine. 35 years of Badrock, and I'm not going to lie. There was no point that I ever thought, oh, we need a Badrock series. And I am so 100% in for this now. Seth's artwork has me, the concept, that reminder, this is a teenager and quite the big body to fill. As a fan of some of like Captain Marvel, Shazam, this is the type of thing I'm always amused by. I like kids getting the chance to play big.
I wasn't going to say it during your interview, but you should see the pages.
Oh, I can't wait. So in spot number 9, it is an artist edition. This isn't something we normally did. And it's crazy because I'm not aiming it all at the direct market. But in my opinion, that Flash 123 iconic image, being able to handle basically the original art in this scanned in representation of it is going to be amazing. All these key storylines and covers and artwork that belong in museums to sound like I'm Indiana Jones, that can now belong in my personal collection. This is an amazing piece. So definitely, it's an expensive one, but order it. Then Simon Kudransky is getting a huge amount of attention thanks to No Man's Land, and he deserves it. He does some of the most amazing covers and homages, but this one deserves extra attention because if you notice that signature, that is Simon and Todd McFarlane doing that cover of Something Epic 13 for its big epic return. That's going to be big. Anything Todd. Todd's doing a lot of little touch-ups with people, and I love it.
Absolutely.
All right. Then we get X-Men Hellfire Murder. I love having the murder crossing out the gala, but then getting the Hellfire imagery in that chalk line is great. That, not to mention everyone in full costume for it. We get the Alex Diodo obvious homage to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. The perfect thing to be homaging this with Kurt and Gideon's Supermondo Megabots #1. I got to get that cover, and I imagine so is Kyle.
Absolutely.
Fantastic Four 15, a beautiful Beyond Beliefs Chris Anka cover. This just had my jaw drop. It is such an amazing piece on the big 65th anniversary. So, got to go that way. Then the Patron #1 makes its #4 debut right there. John Pearson doing the awesome cover right there. Christian Ward and John Pearson, talk about a powerhouse team. I cannot wait to read this haunting, astounding tale. Then we get the blind bags. I hate to say I'm sick of blind bags right now. I'm going to be blunt with you. I am sick of blind bags right now. But I'm going to be getting quite a pile of these blind bags for DNX #1. Marvel has dropped that among the covers that are going to be in this, there are going to be 3 additional Scotty Young covers. There's going to be black and whites, Linnell Francis Yu, a Fan Yang variant, Art Germ variants, an animation variant to tie into the X-Men 97. John Tyler Christopher is going to be doing a negative space foil variant. We're going to have Marvel Rivals net tease variants featuring Rogue. There's going to be blank covers. And there's going to be a Chris Giarrusso wraparound homaging Will Spertasio's classic X-Men, Ken Lashley, and the chance of rare hand-drawn sketch covers once again. There's going to be a box you can get with 26 of these things in there. They don't count towards ratio variants, so just keep that in mind. But whether it's a store deciding it's the box is the way to get a bunch of these, or it's you guys that want a bunch and a fancy way to store them all, a lot of ways to go after these crazy blind bags. I'm getting so sick of blind bags, and I'm sure a lot of you are too. And yet, here we are. It made its way to #3 because I'm going to go after a handful. Number 2.
Sure. I clicked the wrong thing. Hold on.
Well, I can tell you swimsuit covers are doing it and cheesecake covers are doing it, but this isn't the cheesecake I want. And yet I still need to own this cover. Just out of way. Thank you, Mercandolfo, the Lobo main man junk is hidden, but the trunks are on full display. Mercandofo's cover is drawing a ton of attention. I can't believe those fish are allowed to look so lovingly at what is underneath that tube. This is such a Lobo cover. This is such a Mercandofo cover. God, I need this, and I don't want it at all. Number one, it needs to be Gerald Perel doing a stunning piece with our Dark Knights of Steel, Wonder Woman, and Supergirl, the power couple of this European medieval fantasy adventure. I cannot wait to return to the world of Dark Knights of Steel, and I hope that you all will join me on this and reach out to your local comic shop with a pre-order for this and all the other things that you guys want before Monday when these finalize orders. That's the goal. Reach out to your local comic shop. Let them know what you want, because there's a lot of great items on this week's FOC. But Kyle, there's also a lot of great things on the EXP this weekend. What do we have coming up?
Well, we have Nick's original art show tonight, which is it's Daredevil themed. He has some very interesting Daredevil pieces that will be on the art show tonight. And then you'll have Nancy McCann, Friday Night Live from Comics Unlimited, her regular vintage and request show that she does every week, and everybody loves Nancy. Then next week we have a full slate of shows, but remember, next week is also the holiday. Like, the holiday is coming, so be aware that is a thing you're going to have to contend with. Plus, we've got some cons. So follow us on social media so you can find out what shows are happening when and where.
That reminds me, I don't know with 100% certainty, just to throw that fear into Kyle, that I have Fan Expo Anaheim. So we'll see if I'm going to be doing the stream. We might be, more than likely we will be, but we'll see, just to throw a bit of confusion on everyone. Otherwise, we're going to have an amazing co-host. Thank you guys all for watching. I'm certain this show will be back in one way or another next Friday, as it will be every Friday after. We'll see you next time.